So if you hear this humming noise coming from over there, it's my computer, which I've left on, so that I can read the descriptions of each one of these categories for the tag that I'm about to undergo. Hi everyone, my name is Scott, and I'm a subscriber to Absolute Sublime 1, who a few days ago posted a video on a tag, a movie-related tag that he decided to do. He was tagged in turn by a fellow named Blu-ray Anarchy, but the tag originally came from someone called TheBluCorner. I'm not subscribed to them, but I found their videos with the tag, and they are all linked below, including Absolute Sublime 1, so you can check them out for yourself. This is called the My Life in Movies tag, and Absolute Sublime 1's video is literally called Tag, You're It, Do It. I am. So I'm doing it. He tagged pretty much anyone who wanted to do it, so I'm going to do it. We've had some categories here that are similar to questions on previous tags. So those of you who don't feel like doing this, I'm not going to hold it against you, but I'm doing them, so I hope you find this fun. First question is First Steps, and this is basically the first film you remember seeing as a kid. That would be The Empire Strikes Back in my case. I know I saw movies prior to that, for example, the Disney film The Rescuers and the first Star Wars movie, but I don't actually remember seeing them. I don't have the memory of seeing them. What I remember about seeing Empire for the first time, or one of the times that I saw it in the theater, was the curtains widening to accommodate the widescreen and everybody in the theater going, ooh, yeah, we were in for a good time there. I think I saw it in a double feature, but I remember almost nothing about the movie that came before it. I think it was a Zorro movie, but I'm not really sure. Next category. Teenage crush. Fairly explanatory. What actor or actress did you have a crush on when you were a teenager, right? So I've had, a few of those over the years. When I was a teenager, though, when I was in high school and such, I was a lot more interested in girls I actually knew personally, went to school with, had classes with, than the professionally good-looking people I saw in movies. However, there was one in particular that caught my eye. Her name is Jennifer Jason Leigh, and I saw her in a couple movies called Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Miami Blues, and she's super cute and super naked in both of them. So, yeah. I don't know if you'd call it a crush, but it was like the closest thing that I had at that time. Next category. Bad choices, good outcome. So this is basically a movie you watched and ended up enjoying even though you wanted to hate it. I don't see many movies that I want to hate. I go and see them thinking that they'll be terrible. I try not to waste my time with stuff like that. And if I do, I'll just check it out on TV or maybe the disc or something like that. And I don't really watch it all the way through. There are a couple of movies that I skipped seeing in the theater that I caught up with later and actually enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would. And recently, I actually was talking with my dad about Jack Reacher, because my dad has read most, if not all, of the Jack Reacher novels by Lee Child. And so I was encouraging him to see the first Jack Reacher movie. I didn't go and see it in the theater. I didn't think it would be that great, but, and the times I've watched it, I've really enjoyed it. It's a good, fast-paced, rat-a-tat dialogue, good performances, and it's exciting, fun movie. So that would be like a choice that I'd nominate for this category. I've been having a hard time thinking of movies that I thought I really wouldn't like and end up loving. That's like one of the better examples, I think. Next category. First date. What was the movie, when you went on a first date, what movie did you see? Okay, yeah, so this is like the first... maybe I have this wrong here. The First Date is a movie that I went to, or the first movie I took a girl I was dating to. I think I interpreted this this question wrong. I said Batman. Batman was a movie that came out in 1989. I was between my sophomore and junior year, and at that time I was dating a girl who I'd actually met just a few days before the end of this previous school year. So I was, looking to hang out with her and spend some time with her over the summer, and the first movie I took her to was Batman, with Jack Nicholson, of course, as the Joker's, Tim Burton. And as far as a first date, I went on a first date that turned out to not actually be a date. I took out a girl who I really liked a lot, and she seemed to really like me. So for our evening out, I took her to see Total Recall. This was a year later, summer of 1990. And when I expressed an interest in her as the date was like wrapping up, she's just like, nope, we're just going to be friends. And that was very disappointing to me. Very disappointing indeed. So I guess either of those two could fit. I'm not really sure. Next category is home comforts. Oh, by the way, if you're curious about the description of each of these categories, I've got them copied and pasted in the description below so you can read them for yourself. Next two categories are home comforts, and the one that follows that up is first heartbreak. And these are described as home comforts is what movie reminds you of time with your family, and the first heartbreak category is what movie really upset or hit you more than you thought. And basically I picked the same two movies for these categories, which is E.T. the Extraterrestrial by Steven Spielberg. It came out in 1982. I was 9 years old at the time. And of course, at that age, and for many years preceding that, I would just basically go to movies that my parents took me and my little brother to. And E.T. was one of them. It was one of many we went to see. And the emotional involvement we got in the story with the characters, especially since the character of Elliot, the main character, was pretty much almost exactly my age at the time. Yeah, made it quite an emotional thing. And I remember, just being sort of around my family and hanging out, spending time with my family, going to see those movies. Not that I didn't do that with the other ones, but that one especially so. And I actually have a very clear memory of the last time I saw that movie in the theater, which was on its re-release, I think in 1985. Or actually it might have been, no, it probably was in 82, because we went with another family. They had a few kids. Their oldest daughter had a brain tumor that she had been operated on very, very recently. Her hair was extremely short, and she had a big scar, a curved scar on the side of her head, because she had, the tumor was taken out. She was in good spirits. She was in, a high energy. She was in a good mood. She didn't seem, hobbled in any way by the surgery she had on her brain. Unfortunately, the cancer did come back sometime later, and she did pass away, in the months that followed that. But, one of my last memories of her is all of us going to see that movie together. And that was like her first time seeing it, because she'd been in the hospital for most of the summer. It must have been 82. It must have been when I was 9 and she was like 7, I think. So yeah, that was, that particular movie, E.T., fits both of those categories very well. Next category is leaving home. Leaving home basically is described as the first movie that you went to see without your family. And that was an easy one for me to remember. When I was 13 years old, it was the summer of '86, and I had a good friend named Nathan, who I went to school with, and he invited me to come along with his family to see Short Circuit. Short Circuit is the comedy about the robot that gets struck by lightning and suddenly develops a personality of its own and starts to meets Ali Sheedy, and Ali Sheedy introduces it to the world, and then Steve Guttenberg, the scientist, comes looking for it. It's a silly movie, pretty funny comedy, and I actually didn't go see it with my parents. That was like the first one. So there you go. Next category is called Good Times, and Good Times is described as what movie do you watch most and why? Which movie do you repeatedly watch over and over again? There have been a few of those over the years in which I'd watch it every single time it was on TV, or I'd pop in the VHS over and over again. So it's a little difficult to narrow it down. But these days, the movie that I rewatch the most frequently that I own is The Social Network. The Social Network, the David Fincher film with Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg. The dialogue is so rapid fire, and there's no boring parts of that movie for me. You watch a movie enough times, and maybe certain parts of it get a little bit dull and worn out, and you wait for the next, the exciting bit to come. But there is no dull part for me in The Social Network. It's all really good, and it's all very interesting and holds my attention. And so just the style of it and everything like that just holds my attention very, very well. So yeah, The Social Network is my nomination for that. Probably one of the only people to say that about that movie. But it just works really well for me. Next category is called Learn a New Language. Is that right? Yes, Learn a New Language. This category is, what is your favorite non-English language movie? I have a couple. My favorite movie of 2002, and one of the very best movies of that decade, was the Alfonso Cuarón drama called Y tu mamá también, and also Open Your Eyes, by Alejandro Amenabar, which was remade as Vanilla Sky, and that's funny because Absolute Sublime One actually picked Vanilla Sky as one of his picks in the categories, but he liked it a lot better than Open Your Eyes, whereas I liked Open Your Eyes a lot better. Really, really exciting movie, very interesting. I saw that movie starting around 2 in the morning, and I had to stay up and watch the whole thing because I found it so compelling. Also, I wanted to mention the first John Woo movie I saw, which was The Killer. It came out in Chicago in 1991. And my friends and I were super pumped for this movie. We saw the trailer. We could not believe any movie could be so incredibly awesome as this one. We went to see it like at least 3 times, I think, over the course of however many showings that it had over the weeks or months or what have you. Yeah, The Killer, John Woo. Oh my goodness, yeah. Can't wait to rewatch that for my Decades of Action series. Next category. Can't Leave the Sofa. This is about TV, actually. What series on TV got you hooked? Well, you know, I mean, there are a bunch of them that do that. There are very few series in which I'll, like, quit halfway through and go, I don't feel like watching this anymore. There's been a couple like that. Smallville, Switched at Birth. I eventually just kind of went, you know what, I'm done with this show. I'm tired of it. So, yeah, there's a few shows I'm keeping up with right now, and as far as, like, binge watching, I really only do that when I'm getting caught up on a show, you know, like if it's on disc. If I'm not a subscriber to the channel, I have to wait for the disc, then I'll watch like 6 episodes in a sitting, 4 to 6 episodes, and get it all over with. So that includes Game of Thrones, that's Shameless, that's iRobot, that's House of Cards. No, sorry, is it iRobot? Is that the name of the show? Mr. Robot, sorry, Mr. Robot, yeah. iRobot's the Will Smith movie. Yeah, you know, I mean, and of course, I'm a longtime fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is already like 15 years old. Oh, wait, it started in 1997, so that would make it more like 20 years old at this point. It's a 20-year-old show. But yeah, that was one show in which I had to be there for the initial broadcast of each episode, every single new episode. And when some people I know were like, hey Scott, we're going to do this thing on Tuesday night, I'm like, I can't make it. It's like, you're staying home to watch Buffy, aren't you? I'm like, oh yes, because I'm going to be antsy and eager to get home and watch the recording of it, you know, all night long. You know, I'm going to be no good. No, it's not going to be any good for me to be there. You know, I got to be home to watch Buffy just because I'd be so distracted by it. So. Yes, Buffy is the best. Next category is called Sick Day. And this is basically, what movie do you watch if you don't feel well to cheer you up? If I'm not feeling well, if I'm nauseous, I'm not really watching anything, actually. I'm trying to be as calm as possible. Trying to be cool, trying to just be mellow and not get agitated. And most of the movies that I see excel at agitation because they're all really high tension. So for this one, I'm going to nominate Koyaanisqatsi, which is a film directed by a guy named Godfrey Reggio. It's technically a documentary, but really it's basically like an 80-minute music video. There's no dialogue, there's no story, no characters, just a lot of really very hypnotic music and all this great footage of all these various locations throughout the States and other parts of the world. Yeah, and unlike most movies in which you know what the plot is, with a song, basically, with a song, doesn't matter how many times you hear it, it's probably great every time if you like it. Knowing what's coming next is part of the fun. Knowing, you know, where the song is going, what have you, and so with a music video, that's sort of akin to that kind of thing. And with Koyaanisqatsi, that's kind of the same deal. Koyaanisqatsi basically just has lots of really great imagery, and the music is something that I'm very, very fond of. So if I was sick and I wanted to put something on, it would probably be something kind of soothing. Maybe I wouldn't watch the whole thing because There's a couple bits that are like super like frantic, where the music gets really high, high frequency, high tempo, and the imagery is all like, you know, time-lapse photography where everything is just like buzzing all over the screen. So, you know, but at least the first part of the movie, at least there are sections of the movie that I would watch if I was sick and wanted to, like, you know, chill a bit. Next category is looking to the future. Very simple. What am I most looking forward to seeing that I haven't yet? How about The Last Jedi? The next Star Wars movie, I'm definitely looking forward to that. This new Tom Hanks, Emma Watson thriller called The Circle is directed by James Ponsoldt. I'm really excited about that. Steven Soderbergh is going to have a new movie finally coming out this year called Logan Lucky. It has Daniel Craig in it. Also, I just learned a few weeks ago that Darren Aronofsky has got a new movie that's going to be coming out this fall with Jennifer Lawrence. It's a home invasion thriller called Mother. Ed Harris is in it as well. That's exciting. So those would be the movies that I'm looking forward to the most. This category is called If Only, and the description is, what old movie do you want to see remade? A lot of people these days are complaining about remakes, despite the fact that Beauty and the Beast, you know, stomped everybody on the box office. People are still, you know, everyone still kind of goes, well, remakes aren't such a good thing. I would like to be a little bit possibly hated here and say Alfred Hitchcock's Rope would be a cool movie to see remade, because Hitchcock couldn't actually do an unbroken shot, one long unbroken shot throughout the whole movie. It's designed to look like a lot of long takes, but the cuts are sort of hidden. Not terribly well, you know, they're easily noticeable, but, you know, with the technology as it is right now, with the camera equipment, the way it is right now, you could do an entire 90-minute movie in one single unbroken shot. Not like Birdman, where they took a bunch of shots and then used digital effects to, like, blend them together so it looks like a long shot. No, you could actually do a full feature-length movie in one shot. They did it with Russian Ark. They did it, you know, and it's probably going to be really tough, but it would be exciting to see somebody pull that off, to do Rope, but an authentically unbroken, continuous shot. And, you know, it's one location, it's one apartment, you know, so it could be done. It could be done. It would just take a lot of practice and the willingness to, you know, mess up and have to try again in order to get the whole thing right. Without, you know, any sort of digital trickery. That would be cool. I would enjoy seeing that. As the question is to who would do it exactly and who would be in it, I don't know. I have no idea. But that would be my answer. Final category: End of the Road. This is basically, what 3 films do you think you will always enjoy watching? Goodfellas, favorite movie of all time, Martin Scorsese's best, Koyaanisqatsi, as I mentioned earlier, and Batman Begins. Batman Begins is a movie that I just never seem to get tired of. I'm a little tired of it now because, you know, when it first came out on disc, I would watch it so many times. But still, every time it's on, I'm just like, man, this is a great movie. Really enjoy it. I just enjoy looking at it, listening to it. You know, it's great. I love it. So that is it. That is all the stuff right there. So, like I said, in the description below, I'll have a list of all these categories and their definitions as laid out by TheBluCorner. And again, those videos that I mentioned earlier, they're also linked below. And my Facebook page is linked below. And thank you very much for sitting through this whole kind of long video. I don't even know how long it is, but it's probably pretty long. And I will see you again real soon. Take it easy.